housing news.
Welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development. Thanks for keeping a date. The role that housing plays in the social and economic development of a country cannot be underestimated. Interventions in housing by government are widely acknowledged as one of the ways by which the social aspect of the life of the citizenry can be impacted, especially through mass housing, otherwise called social housing. But the big question is, what is the core role of government in housing provision? How can the government improve social housing delivery for low-income Nigerians? How about the mortgage foreclosure law yet to be adopted and passed in several states? What effect will all this have in the provision of affordable housing for low-income Nigerians? Stay tuned as we discuss these and more on the program today. As always, I am Flora Ani, your housing diva. Let's start by bringing you major headlines that made rounds during the week. I'll be back shortly.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has outlined the state's plan to boost the real estate sector's contribution to its GDP from 5 to 6% to 15 to 20%. At the inauguration of the 26th President and Chairman of the Council of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Victor Alonge, in Abuja recently, Sanwo-Olu called for collaboration to elevate the real estate profession. The governor emphasized the importance of everyone playing their part in advancing the real estate profession. He encouraged the institution to support and motivate its members, highlighting that they are all part of the same team. Experience Housing and Construction Development at its peak as Africa's largest housing and construction exhibition and conference, the Africa International Housing Show, moves its venue to the stunning National Stadium in Abuja, Nigeria, a bigger venue than the International Conference Center (ICC), to expand opportunities for exhibitors and attendees. The Africa International Housing Show is boldly advancing innovation by extending to a 6-day event from July 20th to July 27th, 2024, accommodating more exhibitors to showcase groundbreaking products and ideas. This year, the end of conference dinner and awards night will be held at the prestigious Transcorp Hilton in Abuja. The decision to relocate the Abuja International Housing Show (AIHS) to a larger venue comes from several factors. These include the considerable increase in participation, limitation in space at the current venue (ICC), the opportunity arising from the closure of the ICC for renovations, the need for upgraded facilities, and the goal of ensuring seamless operations and accessibility for all attendees.
For more information on housing finance and construction news, visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Moving on, how can the government improve social housing delivery for Nigerians? What role can the National Assembly members play to boost housing development in Nigeria? Let's watch these housing experts as they task both the state governors and the National Assembly members to be housing friendly.
Over the last 5 years, Nigeria has made a huge leap in terms of institutional interventions for housing, but there is a lot more that needs to be done. Reacting to this recently over a Zoom interactive section with Housing Development, Jide Odusholu, CEO of Up to 5 Holdings, he also called on the government to create an enabling and conducive environment for real estate to thrive.
Create a fiscal environment that is friendly to investing developers. When I say investing developers, any developer who has developed or is developing a minimum of 100 to 200 homes, especially in targeted areas that you feel you want to see grow, give them fiscal incentives.
For Professor Charles Iyangete, on his part, tasked the National Assembly members to play a key role in ensuring we have policies that addresses affordable housing in Nigeria.
The Assembly needs to play a key role in ensuring we have a policy that addresses housing. When I mean a policy, I mean a national policy that addresses housing. At the moment, we tend to want to address housing from a large project perspective. If I'm a first-time homeowner, I cannot put my finger on a policy on housing that really cares for me. And it is that first entry, giving that step into the ladder of home ownership, that is so crucial. So we need a policy, and the Assembly can do a lot in ensuring that that comes to pass.
Ezekiel Ojo, Managing Director, Shelter Origin, also charged the National Assembly members to leave a positive legacy that they will be remembered for.
If I happen to meet the National Assembly people, I will tell them to formulate a policy, let them legislate it, and let it be part of what they are leaving behind as legacy on housing, that every state or each state every year must produce a certain number of houses that is depending on their need, and it should be something that is sustainable.
Roland Igbinoba, founder, Peace and Housing Company, speaking, also tasked states to pass the model mortgage foreclosure law to enhance housing development.
Without a proper investment climate, you cannot do housing or housing finance transactions. And what the foreclosure law is doing is giving investors confidence. And I think that more states need to pass that bill just to create an investment-friendly environment.
It is pertinent to ensure the availability of affordable housing by giving a better commitment and attention to the delivery of housing facilities that are affordable and accessible to Nigerians, especially those within the no-income and lower-medium income groups.
My name is Akim Oguniro, CEO Eximia Realty Company Limited and Vice Chairman of the Board of AIHS. I'm pleased to invite you to AIHS 2024. It's going to be a unique occasion. We're focusing on critical issues affecting the real estate and housing segment. The theme is financing the housing that you need. And it is imperative for me to mention that this year we're doing this in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Housing. It promises to be a great time. The conferencing, the exhibition, networking opportunities, CEO platforms, and platform to sell your products. So this year, make sure that you don't miss it. If there's anywhere you want to be during this period, it has to be AIHS 2024 at Abuja Stadium. Thank you and God bless you.
Housing experts there charging National Assembly members and the state governors to be housing friendly. One area of concern there also is the issue of foreclosure law as spoken by Roland Igbinoba. Some of the merits of the model mortgage and foreclosure law include creating an enabling environment for state to provide affordable housing for their citizens by de-risking the housing and mortgage sector and unlocking its potential for economic growth. It will also serve as an enabler for ease of doing business index as the state will improve, and this will in turn further improve the business case for new investment in housing and catalyze access to finance for citizens of the state. I'll be back in a moment.
Let's go. Let's go.
Huh? What is it again?
Oga, and they drive this car, my mind no dey. My landlord is on my neck.
Your landlord again? I thought I have told you this before. Get a mortgage, register with NHF scheme, and get a home up front. What is so difficult about this?
Oga, I will do just that. See, I will shame that my landlord. Mortgage.
At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, everyone deserves a home.
The program is Housing Development. Thanks for staying tuned. Several housing construction and delivery system in Nigeria is targeted mainly at the middle and high-income group of the population that can either pay cash or access mortgage finance from the banks. What is the way out for low-income earners? How can more low-income earners become homeowners? Let's listen to these industry housing stakeholders.
According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, mortgage finance requirement for the country is conservatively put at between 15 to 20 trillion naira, whereas housing stock in Nigeria is estimated at 10.7 million, out of which only about 5% is in formal mortgage. Low-income earners have been facing challenges meeting one of the basic needs of man, shelter, due to lack of access to finance. The poor mortgage system in Nigeria has made housing unaffordable for millions. Addressing the mortgage system in Nigeria, Mr. Abdul Hakim Babatunde Uthman says the government must partner with the private sector to deliver affordable housing via mortgage, urging the government to reduce the interest rate so as to enable many become homeowners before retirement.
Government cannot do it alone. The private sector must partner with government to deliver affordable houses.
Reacting, Prince Sheyi Lufadeju says with the recent increase in support by the mortgage banks from 15 million to 50 million, a lot of people will benefit and take advantage of the system, which will in turn salvage the housing needs of Nigerians.
The way out is very simple. You know, the federal government has established the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. The purpose of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is to provide long-term financing for people who are benefiting from property development. So, recently the Federal Mortgage Bank increased the level of support from 15 million naira to 50 million naira. Which means that a lot of people now will now be able to benefit and take advantage of that. The market is very large, and therefore the capacity to do whatever we need to do is going to be increasing. And therefore we are pleased that the mortgage bank and other institutions will be able to continue to service the mortgage of properties that are constructed.
Nigeria's housing shortage still persists, despite the real estate industry contributing 5.64% to the country's GDP in 2022. The federal government would need to spend 21 trillion naira to address the country's 28 million housing deficit. This is to meet the needs of a rapidly growing population, which is estimated to be 219 million.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with me. The success of any sustainable housing delivery system depends on a wide range of factors, which includes availability and accessibility to mortgage finance. It is no longer strange to know that some Nigerians, especially the low-income groups living in cities, are homeless. The reason is that the cost of constructing or renting an accommodation is simply beyond the reach of an average Nigerian. Let's listen to these Nigerians on Voices on the Street as they air their opinion on assessing mortgage in Nigeria.
So mortgage policy is good in the sense that it affords civil servants the opportunity to own houses at a cheaper rate. Yes, I believe, but the truth of the matter is that, in every disciple, there must be Judas. Why some people tend not to believe in this mortgage policy in this country, Nigeria, is because of corruption tendencies. There are quite a number of people, they make this investment, and at the end of the day, they did not see headway. So such people, there is no preaching, nothing you will tell them that makes them to believe on mortgage policy.
Mortgage system is, in Nigeria, it's okay. Mortgage, all over the world, mortgage, it helps people that cannot afford to buy properties as a stretch like other people. At least they go through mortgage system, they can be able to afford property of their own a place where they can, retire after working hard and all that. When you get old, you need a place of retirement.
Looking at Nigeria, mortgage is not working. For me, being somebody who works in the private sector, I've not seen maybe a pinch of the effect of mortgage.
I think this mortgage of a thing would have been something that will help people like us to earn a house of our own without stress. But it's unfortunate that the rate is too high. What they charge people is too high. I don't know because I have not done that, but I do hear about it. So, and I don't know if it is accessible to people like us, to the common man.
The mortgage system is, let me call it, is a very good program. It's a very good system. But the mortgage system is a very good concept overseas. But in Nigeria, you find out that the mortgage system is attached to the public sector, to government sectors. And because of the intrinsic lack of trust in government by Nigerians. So anything you mention government, people don't have trust in it. Even when government comes with the best of interests, best of intentions, I find out that the systems in Nigeria are weak. Government systems in Nigeria are weak. So most policies in terms of mortgage system fail. So people have not got the trust in an otherwise trustworthy program. So when you say mortgage, you don't normally see much of private sector doing mortgage, because even if you are in the private sector doing mortgage in Nigeria, you find out that it still has to be you have to talk about government paying the salaries of people who are involved in the mortgage. So it is due to the lack of trust. Not that they don't like it, but how much trust can you give to a system that is weak? That is the problem.
Let me quote the last respondent there on Voices on the Street. He says, how much trust can you give to a system that is weak? A typical mortgage rate in Nigeria ranges between 7 and 10% for Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and between 15 and 25% for commercial mortgage institutions. With that sort of interest rate, it seems arguably difficult for many salary earners in Nigeria to acquire a house through the mortgage system. To address the housing challenges in the country, we need to have a robust mortgage industry, and it has to be at an affordable rate. I'll be back shortly. Keep watching Housing Development.
I think it's a fantastic initiative, and if you just look out in the audience right now, you have the who's who of the marketplace. You've got managing directors of banks and mortgage companies and developers. So I'm looking forward to having some detailed conversations with our existing partners, meeting a whole bunch of new people.
I think what makes this type of venue important is it gives all of the stakeholders a chance to come together and figure out ways to solve the affordable housing needs of people.
An excellent way of bringing thought leaders, investors, institutions that can help to address the problem holistically. You know, I think it's a very excellent initiative.
The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development recently signed a performance management system with directors to deliver affordable housing to Nigerians. Here is the full report.
Marcus Ogumbi, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, signed a performance management system with directors to deliver affordable housing to Nigerians. Giving his opening remarks at the signing of the performance contract between the Permanent Secretary, directors, and heads of departments of the ministry, Ogumbi stated that the institutionalizing of the PMS in the ministry aligned with the presidential mandate and directive from the office of the head of the civil service of the Federation.
In line with the presidential mandate and directive from the office of the head of the civil service of the Federation, I am particularly happy because it is happening in the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. I say this because I am the Permanent Secretary and the Accounting Officer of the ministry. And you will all recall that prior to this appointment, I was the Permanent Secretary, Career Management Office, in the office of the head of the civil service of the Federation.
Ogumbi reiterated that under the visionary leadership of President Bola Tinubu, the ministry has been given a mandate to drive Pillar 5 of the presidential priorities, focusing on transportation and infrastructure as enablers of growth.
Under the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, this ministry has been given a mandate to drive Pillar 5 of the presidential priorities, focusing on transportation and infrastructure as enablers of growth. This is one of the three components that form the framework for the development of the Ministerial Performance Management System, the MPMS, through which the departmental performance contracts were developed.
Giving his remarks, the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics, Mr. Bala Mohammed Saulawa, expressed his excitement over the bold stride, stating that the technical teams have been up and doing in ensuring that the necessary documents is presented in the best manner.
The directors can bear witness that our technical team has been up and doing, trying to ensure that the document is presented in the best manner and the best we can. I just want to use this opportunity 12 hours a day to ensure this document is brought before you today.
With cheer, the performance contract was signed between the Permanent Secretary, directors, and heads of departments. The performance management system is one of the key pillars of the ongoing reform in the Federal Civil Service in alignment with the national priorities and presidential deliverables.
Welcome back. It's still Housing Development, the program that advocates for the provision of affordable, low-cost housing for Nigerians. Are you an estate developer, residential and commercial real estate agent, mortgage and investment loan providers, insurance providers, home interiors and landscaping experts, home appliances and electronic suppliers, home networking and communication providers, energy suppliers and equipment providers? You have an opportunity to showcase your products and services at the floor of the largest housing and construction event in Africa. The 18th Africa International Housing Show comes July 22nd to 27th, 2024. That is where I'll be wrapping up the program today, but then I leave you with these words. There is nothing more important than a decent, good, safe, and secure home. Keep it at the same time next week. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. See you soon.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.